I didn't find out right away. That's the thing about betrayal inside families. It rarely arrives loudly. It arrives quietly. Through side comments, through silence, through things that suddenly don't make sense. My name is Hannah Miller. I'm 29 years old. And for most of my life, I believed that being patient meant being mature. I was wrong. Growing up, I was the responsible one. The one who followed rules. The one who planned ahead. The one who never asked for much. My parents liked to call me low maintenance. At the time, I thought it was a compliment. Now I know it meant something else. My younger sister's name is Lauren. Lauren was different. She was emotional, expressive, always needing reassurance, and somehow, always getting it. If Lauren wanted something, it became a family discussion. If I wanted something, it became a lesson about patience. I moved out early, built my own life, paid my own bills. Not because I wanted independence so badly, but because I learned early that relying on my parents came with strings. The only constant in my childhood was my grandmother, Margaret Miller. Everyone called her Grandma May. She was quiet, observant, and sharper than anyone gave her credit for. She noticed things, like who was always excused, who was always expected to understand, who always gave more than they received. When I turned 21, Grandma May called me into her kitchen. She slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a copy of her will. "You don't tell anyone," she said calmly. "I just want you to know." I tried to refuse. She stopped me. "This isn't about money," she said. "It's about fairness." According to that document, Grandma May had set aside a significant inheritance for me, not because she loved me more, but because she knew something my parents didn't want to admit. Lauren would always be taken care of. I wouldn't. Years passed. Life moved on. Lauren struggled with jobs, struggled with responsibility, struggled with consequences. My parents helped her, constantly. I didn't mind. Or at least, I told myself I didn't, because families aren't supposed to be competitions. Then Grandma May got sick, hospice sick, the kind of sick where conversations change, the kind of sick where people suddenly start visiting more often. My parents began showing up daily. Lauren suddenly became very attentive, very helpful, very present. Something about that made me uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything. Because, again, patience. 2 weeks later, Lauren posted a photo on Instagram. A brand new car, shiny, expensive, completely out of reach for someone who hadn't worked consistently in years. The caption said, "New beginnings, grateful beyond words." I stared at that photo longer than I should have, because I knew. I didn't know how, but I knew. I called my mother, casually, carefully. "That's a nice car Lauren got," I said. There was a pause, a small one, but noticeable. "Yes," my mother replied. "We helped her out." Helped her out. "With what?" I asked. Another pause, longer. "Don't start, Hannah," she said. That sentence told me everything. I didn't argue, I didn't accuse, I didn't raise my voice. I just hung up. That night, I barely slept. Because once a thought forms, it doesn't disappear. It grows. The next day, I went to see Grandma May. She was weaker, smaller, but her eyes were still sharp. She noticed my silence immediately. "What happened?" she asked. I hesitated, then told her. About the car. About my parents' reaction. About the feeling in my chest that wouldn't settle. She closed her eyes. For a long time. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "They touched it, didn't they?" I felt cold. "You told them?" I asked. "No," she said quietly, "but they always knew it existed." My parents hadn't been ignorant. They'd been waiting. My grandmother asked me to hand her the phone. Her hand was shaking, but her voice wasn't. She dialed, Put it on speaker, my mother answered. Cheerful. Too cheerful. Hi, Mom, she said. Grandma May didn't greet her, didn't ask how she was, didn't waste time. I want to know why money that was never yours was used to buy Lauren a car. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. My father's voice appeared in the background. Defensive. We were going to explain, he said. When? Grandma May asked. No answer. That money was meant for Hannah, she continued. Not as a gift, as protection. My mother sighed, the sigh she used when she thought someone was being dramatic. She doesn't need it, she said. She's doing fine. That was the moment everything broke. Grandma May's voice hardened. Doing fine is not permission to steal, she said. Lauren tried to speak, tried to justify, tried to cry. Grandma May cut her off. You knew, she said, and you said nothing. Then she said the sentence that changed everything. I'm calling my attorney tomorrow. My parents panicked, not visibly, not loudly, but I could hear it. There's no need to escalate, my father said quickly. Grandma May laughed, softly. You already did, she said. The call ended. I sat there in shock, because my grandmother, frail, dying, overlooked, had just done what I never could. She chose me. Out loud. That night, my parents called me. Over and over, I didn't answer. Lauren texted, angry, then scared, then apologetic. I read every message and saved them. Because suddenly I understood something important. This wasn't about money. It was about permission. They thought my silence meant consent. They thought my independence meant I didn't deserve protection. They thought Grandma May was too weak to intervene. They were wrong. Because the next call she made wouldn't just expose the truth. It would force consequences. And once that happened, there would be no going back. Got it. The night after that call, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Missed calls, messages, voicemails, all from the same people who had gone years without asking if I was okay. I didn't answer. Because panic makes people honest. And I needed honesty. By morning, the tone changed. The messages weren't angry anymore. They were careful. My mother wrote first. We need to talk calmly. Calmly. As if calmness could erase what they'd done. My father followed. This is being blown out of proportion. That sentence told me everything. People only minimize when they're guilty. Lauren didn't text. She called. Again. And again. I let it ring. Instead, I went to the hospice. The room was quiet in a way that makes every breath sound louder. Grandma looked tired, but her eyes were clear. They're scared, she said softly. I asked how she knew. Because they're finally paying attention, she replied. She told me she had already spoken to her attorney. Not emotionally, not angrily, practically. Everything is documented, she said. They can't undo it now. That was when it stopped feeling like a family argument. It became something else. Something permanent. That afternoon, my parents showed up at my door. Unannounced, standing close together, like people bracing for impact. I didn't rush to open the door. Not out of revenge, out of control. When I finally let them in, my mother started crying immediately. Loud, unfiltered. We were going to put the money back, she said. That sentence changed everything. You don't replace what you had no right to take, I replied calmly. My father stepped in, measured, defensive. Lauren needed the car, he said. She can't move forward without it. I nodded. So you moved her forward, I said, by pushing me backward. Silence filled the room. Then Lauren walked in. Angry, tense, already prepared to fight. You don't even need that money, she snapped. You're doing fine. Fine. The word people use to justify harm. I looked at her calmly. It wasn't yours to decide, I said. She rolled her eyes. "You've always thought you were better than us." I shook my head. "No," I replied. "I just never thought you'd steal from me." That's when she broke down. Messy, loud, uncontrolled. My parents rushed to her side without thinking. Instinct, habit. And in that moment, everything became clear. She would always be protected. I would always be expected to understand. My father tried one last argument. "We're family," he said. "We don't bring lawyers into this." I met his eyes. "You already did," I said. "The moment you spent money that wasn't yours." They left angry, not apologetic. Angry. That night, the hospice called. Grandma wanted to speak. Her voice was tired, but steady. "They're trying to delay," she said. "They think time will soften me." She paused. "It won't." The next week was chaos. My parents started calling relatives, trying to control the story, saying things were misunderstood, saying stress had caused confusion, saying Grandma wasn't thinking clearly. But lies don't survive paperwork. The attorney sent formal notices. Clear, unemotional, unavoidable. The inheritance funds were frozen. The car purchase was flagged. Questions were raised. Lauren stopped posting online, stopped showing off, stopped driving the car with pride. My parents stopped calling me, started calling lawyers. That silence felt different. Not punishment. Fear. One evening, Lauren finally reached out. "Can we talk alone?" I agreed. Public place, boundaries. She arrived late. No confidence, no performance. "I didn't think it would get this serious," she said. I looked at her. "It only became serious because you let it," I replied. She cried, said she felt pressured, said she trusted our parents, said she didn't think Grandma would ever find out. That last part stayed with me. They thought Grandma was already powerless, already irrelevant, already gone. They were wrong. Because from that hospice bed, she was about to remind everyone exactly who she was, and the next step she took would make everything public. Permanent, unavoidable. By the time people realized how serious it was already too late to fix quietly. Because paperwork doesn't care about tears, and lawyers don't respond to guilt. Only facts. The first letter arrived on a Tuesday. Certified, formal, unavoidable. My parents didn't call me. They called everyone else. Relatives, old friends, church contacts, trying to control the narrative before it controlled them. The story they told was simple. There was a misunderstanding. The money was always meant to be temporary. Mom isn't thinking clearly anymore. That last one was their biggest mistake, because questioning Grandma's clarity was the exact thing her attorney had warned them never to do. Within days, the hospice arranged an official medical evaluation. Independent, documented, legal. The results were undeniable. Grandma was mentally sharp, fully aware, and furious. The attorney didn't waste time. He filed a motion that did 3 things at once. Froze all remaining family assets tied to the inheritance, flagged the car purchase as misappropriated funds, opened a formal review of past financial decisions. That's when fear turned into desperation. My parents finally showed up at the hospice. Together. Quiet. Humbled. I wasn't in the room at first, but I heard voices through the door. My mother crying, my father pleading. Then silence. Long. Heavy. When I walked in, Grandma didn't look weak. She looked resolved. She didn't raise her voice, didn't accuse, didn't insult. She simply said one sentence. "I trusted you with my legacy, and you treated it like free money." My father tried to explain. About pressure, about helping one child more, about intentions. Grandma stopped him. "Intentions don't undo theft," she said. Lauren arrived late. She didn't sit, didn't speak, didn't meet Grandma's eyes. Grandma looked at her last. "You enjoyed the car," she said calmly. "Did you ever ask where the money came from?" Lauren whispered something about trust. Grandma nodded slowly. That's exactly what you broke. The attorney spoke next. Clear, clinical. He explained the consequences, not emotionally, legally. The car could be reclaimed, funds could be recovered, future inheritance could be restructured. My parents looked stunned. Lauren looked sick. This wasn't a threat. It was a process. Already moving. By the end of the week, the story leaked. Not from me. Not from Grandma. From court documents. People talk when they see official seals. Relatives who had ignored me for years suddenly reached out. Asking questions. Asking for my side. I didn't give it. Because the truth was already public. Lauren's friends noticed first. The car disappeared. Her social media went silent. No photos, no captions, no confidence. Then came the calls from extended family. To my parents. Not supportive, curious. They wanted explanations, clarifications, receipts. And my parents didn't have them. At home, tensions exploded. Arguments turned loud. Blame shifted hourly. Lauren accused them of promising her the money. My parents accused her of entitlement. And everyone avoided the one truth. They all benefited until consequences arrived. One evening, Lauren showed up at my door. Alone. No makeup. No attitude. She didn't apologize immediately. She paced. Then stopped. They're saying I might have to give the car back, she said. I nodded. That's how accountability works. She broke down. Not dramatically. Quietly. I thought I mattered more, she whispered. That sentence hit harder than anger ever could. Not because it surprised me, because it confirmed everything. I never wanted you to lose, I said calmly. I just didn't agree to be sacrificed. She left without arguing, without blaming, without confidence. At the hospice, Grandma asked me one question. Are you ready for what comes next? I asked what she meant. She smiled faintly. I'm not just correcting the past, she said. I'm protecting the future. That's when she told me. She was rewriting everything. Not splitting, not compromising. Rewriting. And the final decision would not just affect money. It would expose loyalty, reward integrity, and end the illusion of favoritism. Because the last move she planned was the one no one could undo. The final call didn't come from my parents. It didn't come from Lauren. It came from the attorney. His voice was calm, professional, final. Everything has been completed, he said. She signed this morning. I didn't ask what everything meant, because I already knew. Grandma passed 2 days later, peacefully. No drama, no unfinished business. The funeral was crowded, not with grief, with curiosity. People whispered, watched, waited. My parents sat in the front row, together, but distant. Lauren sat beside them, no car keys in her hand, no confidence in her posture. After the service, the attorney requested a private meeting. Immediate family only. The room was quiet, heavy, unforgiving. He didn't begin with emotion. He began with facts. Grandma had rewritten her will. Completely. Legally. Irreversibly. The inheritance was no longer split evenly. The funds misused were officially deducted. Not forgiven. Not ignored. Deducted. The car was reclaimed. Sold. The recovered amount was returned to the estate. My parents' access to future financial decisions was revoked. Permanently. And then came the part no one expected. Grandma created a trust, one that rewarded responsibility, not blood. I was named the sole trustee, not as revenge, as protection. Lauren's share wasn't erased, but it was restricted, controlled, conditional. My parents received no inheritance, only a letter, handwritten, short. The attorney read it aloud. I loved you as my children, but love does not excuse betrayal. I raised you better than this. No one spoke. Lauren cried quietly. Not because of money, because the truth had finally been spoken aloud. My parents didn't argue. They couldn't. Because this time, there was no one left to blame. Outside the building, my father tried to speak to me. "I hope you understand," he said. "We never meant for things to go this far." I looked at him, calm, steady. "They only went this far," I replied, "because you refused to stop earlier." Lauren approached next. "I don't hate you," she said. "I just didn't think fairness applied to us." I nodded. "That belief cost you more than money," I said. Weeks passed. Life became quieter, cleaner, honest. The family stopped calling, stopped explaining, stopped pretending. I used the trust to secure what Grandma intended: education, stability, security, not just for me, for the future. And every time I hesitated, I remembered her final words to me: "Don't confuse forgiveness with permission." The revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was accountability. Written, signed, enforced. They lost access to what they abused, and I gained peace. Because the greatest revenge isn't watching someone fall, it's watching them realize you no longer need their approval.